Hey, this is Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this episode I'm tackling a Dodge Demon with Steve over at Gunslinger Garage. This whole episode is about veteran suicide, and Steve and me had been going back and forth on a theme build, and as the veteranscrisisline.net scrolls on the screen, I'll go into a little bit of detail. This is a topic very near and dear to my heart. If you watch any of my videos, you know I wear the 22 a day bracelet. I never take it off. So I'm starting off by showing some of the really great websites that help veterans and everybody involved. You know, it's a horrible thing for our vets to have to deal with. Mission 22 actually does work with both families and veterans themselves. And there's a lot of different activities that they help with. And that's why like a lot of people like doing diecast, because it takes their mind off things and gives them a purpose. And, this is just it's a terrible thing. I mean, suicide in general is terrible, but for a veteran to serve and put their lives on the line and then to come home and not be able to cope and deal and have issues and not have the help that they need. I hope that anybody that you know that may fit, this criteria, you share this information with them. Mission 22 is great. There's so many great programs and things that they do to really help, in so many different ways. Another one that I support wholeheartedly is the Till Valhalla project. They do a lot with just vets in general, but they have a really good program that helps with any kind of disorders or anything that a returning vet has to deal with. And again, I hope you guys share this. Actually, this is the site where I got my bracelet right there. I wear that. I said every day. I actually need another one. This one's getting worn out. Just as a daily reminder, I think we all know somebody who fits into this category or fit into this category. So anyways, this project is about that. I picked the Dodge Demon because when a lot of soldiers come back from Afghanistan or Iraq, any place that they're serving, they're fighting their own demons. So I thought this was appropriate. And I'm not going crazy with this car. This is a Hot Wheels casting. It's a little beat up to begin with. It's a little rusty. It's had its better days. But I'm trying to keep it very subtle. I started to go a little bit crazy, and then I cut it back, and I caught myself because I want this to just be about the actual the mission of trying to prevent, even one is too many, veteran suicide. All right, so I start by taking this and analyzing it. It's got the black everything. It's got a black front, it's got, the bumper, the front and rear, the grill. You can see all the rust in there. I'm not really sure. This must have been submerged in water at some point, but it's not horrible, but certainly needs some work. But it's a nice casting. I like the Dodge Demons. So pretty much I'm going to get rid of the wheels that are in there. If you press your finger underneath a little bit and push up while you pry, they pop right out of the little plastic tabs on the plastic bases themselves. So it's a real nice, plastic bases have their ups and downs. Obviously they're flimsy, but at the same time, it does make wheel swaps a hell of a lot easier. So I'm just bending the tabs out of the way. And I have a set of wheels. I'm not really sure what they're off of, to be honest with you. They came in a set. So they actually, for once, they fit. I don't have to make axle tubes. I don't have to cut. I don't have to do anything. They fit perfectly. It rolls nice. I got lucky. Very rarely does that happen. So I put it in a citrus strip, stripped the hell out of it, polished it, sanded it. I'm going to hit it with some Stino Res airbrush primer. And then I'm kind of looking at my different paints from Splash Paints. I wanted to go with a light color because I want to put a decal on it, but I didn't want it to be white. So I found an light aluminum color that I thought looked really well. So I opted, because I picked a light color, I didn't want to go with the Stino Res, so I changed it and I primed it white. And then I painted it with the with the silver, which even with the silver, you can't tell on camera. You can tell in the shadows, but other than that, you can't tell. So I designed up, printed out a bunch of decals, different sizes, so on and so forth. I was going to go, and I actually started, you'll see a clip of it. I was going to put the 22 in a couple different places, and then no matter what, I wanted to put the 22 a day decal on the hood. I'm sorry, on the roof. So that I stuck with, and then the more I put on for decals, the more I thought it took away from the actual car itself. And I was trying to be somewhat restrained on this. It's tough. I have a tendency to overdo. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. But I tried to keep it in check on this particular build. I've got some builds coming up that I kind of went crazy on. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of water on the roof. The decals is the testers stuff you can pick up anywhere. That's all I use. I don't have a fancy printer that prints white, so I'm limited what I can do on my own. So I'm using this little, you can use a Q-tip or your finger or anything else. Once I get it on there, I'm just going to keep it wet so I can move it around a little bit so I can center it and make sure everything looks good. And I'll dab it a little bit, move it around, and I'll get all the water out from underneath and on top of it. And then what I usually do is I'll take some of the microcell and just dab around the edges to helps blend it in a little bit when it dries. Took me a while to get used to using this stuff. I tend to overdo it, and I kept brushing it on, and I ended up screwing up my decals. So I took the windshield, I cleaned it, I polished it. This is my first time trying the gauzy stuff, and again, you can't see because my camera settings for black, and then I put something white down like an asshole. So, but trust me, it's there, and it just, I usually use the Pledge. This is the first time trying this. I like the Pledge. I don't know. It's all right. I wouldn't kick it out of bed, I guess. So once it's dipped, I cover it up so no dingleberries get on it. The chassis, I had some black paint on it. I'm assuming from the factory. I have no idea, to be honest with you. But I'm going to sand it, and then I'm going to paint the whole thing black. I'm going to use the Chaos Black from Citadel, which I use. It's a nice chassis black for me. It's kind of a semi-flat, I guess you could say, semi-gloss. I'm not really sure, but it's got the perfect sheen to it. So now I'm just going to hit my tail lights, do some details. I'm sorry, the marker lights. You can see in that picture I had put the 22 in other places. I ended up taking those off before I clear it. So underneath, it's not a lot of detail on this. So I'm just going to hit what is there, which is your exhaust, some of your suspension parts, exhaust tips, so on and so forth. The interior, there really wasn't a lot either. I kind of liked it black because it contrasted with the silver. So I clear coated the hell out of it. I got like 5 coats of clear on this. Now I'm going to take and use my Tamiya masking tape, and I'm going to flat black the hood. And I say flat black, but it's the semi-gloss, which is the same Citadel paint I used on the base, but the shit works out on everything, so I can't complain. I just love that stuff. So after I mask it off, I'll kind of give it a quick scuff so it has something to adhere to, not just a clear coat. And masking off everything on the car except for the hood. This masking tape works really well. I use my fingernails to try to get it into the nooks and crannies to make sure no paint gets out from underneath and bleeds into the actual body. I hate working on these helping hands. It's a pain in the ass, but to film it, it just makes it a little bit easier. In here, because the hood itself has got a curve on it as it gets close to the cowl, I'm using some of the fine 2mm Tamiya tape that's like a vinyl. Stuff works awesome. If you watched my splash paints review on the panel wagon, I use this stuff, and it contours really nice. You can pretty much bend it to your will, and no paint gets underneath it. It's easy to remove. It doesn't peel up any paint underneath. You just get the added flexibility of a little bit more of an easy time getting it to go around curves and corners and complex areas that you really can't do with a standard tape. So I really dig this stuff. I think it works really well, and that's all I really needed it for. The rest of it was fine, and then I'll just pretty much tape up everything to make sure no overspray gets anywhere but where I, actually nowhere. I just want it on the hood. And that's all the pieces parts. That's everything. Again, this isn't a fancy build. This is all about just trying to raise some awareness that it is an issue, that there are people and places out there willing to help veterans. So if you know somebody, please let them know. Shout out to all my Patreon members. If you guys noticed, there's been a lot of changes to my Patreon account, all for the good. So I'll make sure you guys check that out. Search Outlaw Speed Shop on Patreon, and the link is in the details down below. So this is what I started with. I love the Dodge Demon. I like the body style, Duster Demon, whatever you want. I really think they're really cool. As the 70s, 70s kind of sucked for cars, but this gave us some hope that things could still be kind of cool, even though a lot of them, 340 is nothing to scoff at. 340 with a lot of emissions, maybe. But anyways, this is what I came out with. I chromed out the bumpers after I'd painted everything black. Did the taillights. I kept it very, very basic, very, very simple. This thing shines like nobody's business. I think it's perfect. It's got the right mix of subtle, and it gets my point across. I hope you guys like it too. And again, remember, please, this is all about veterans and veteran suicide. If you know somebody, that might need help, please don't hesitate to talk to them. Sometimes just knowing people care is all that matters. So if you guys like this, or if you have a story you want to share, please feel free to comment down below. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out Steve's over at Gunslinger Garage. The link will be in the description down below. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next one.